Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the award-winning Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards in Matters of the Heart. Both books are published by Llewellyn Books. They're available online wherever books are sold. And I also have some signed copies available on my website, ElliotOracle.com, for the tarot lover in your life. And it is time for this week's Oracle reveal. So yesterday on my social media, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals and asked you to use your intuition and ask yourself which animal's getting caught in your head, because that animal has your message. And the 3 animals were the Pueo, which is a Hawaiian owl, the honeybee, and the mountain goat. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal's getting caught in your head, which one's attracting your attention. It doesn't have to be your favorite animal, it just has to be the one that seems to be tugging at your consciousness. So for those of you who picked the Pueo, the Hawaiian owl, the card says your ancestral spirit guides are offering you guidance now, so pay close attention to signs and omens from them. And so Pueo, that Hawaiian owl, this could be a time where you really do feel guided by your ancestors. It might also be a time where you look to your ancestors for guidance. Maybe not even just praying to them or invoking them, but instead looking at their example, looking at their life, looking at their struggles. And if they can get through those things, if they could persevere, maybe you can too with whatever you're struggling with. There's great strength to be found in our ancestral strains. And it doesn't matter what family you come from. There are so many lines that go back so far, stretching into time, that you can find inspiration from. First card for the owl is where it's best to place your focus this next week. And we get the Six of Swords in the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. And for me, the Six of Swords is a card of transitions and changes. And I feel for the owl this next week, you may be experiencing your own changes. And it's important for you to leave the rough waters behind you as you're sailing toward the smooth waters. It might be a time to choose the smoothest course and not really go through some sort of an upheaval, but instead surrender and let go. There's a lot of change cards in the tarot, but for me, the Six of Swords is the most benevolent change card. It's as simple as surrendering, giving up that sense of control, and really just allowing yourself to find the other bank of the river. That's going to be much better for you. And so I just feel like there's transitions, there's moving, there might even be travel in the works for you. But anything that has to do with change, especially gentle change right now for the owl, it's time to fly toward that. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you picked Pueo, the owl, we get the sun, which is the best card in the deck. The sun indicates a new day is dawning. So I feel for the owl, you're probably confronting something that's going to mean a lot of change for you. And it might even feel frightening, because change, even when it's going to be positive, can often scare us. We can psych ourselves out about it. And yet that sun card is reassuring you that if you cooperate with the change that's in front of you, there's going to be an absolutely positive outcome that's going to be the result. And so it's time for your new day to dawn. And if you feel like you're not strong enough or you don't know how to get there, trust in your ancestors. They're guiding the way. They're opening the doors for you. They might even be sending you little signs or signals or omens that are helping you know that you're on the right track. But we have these beautiful symbols of change this next week for you if you pick Pueo, the Hawaiian owl. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week is Pandora. She's the goddess who seals the jar before hope escapes. And so for you with Pandora, this could be a time where you need to know that you can't give up hope, and that hope always remains for you right now. Pandora can indicate that you might have unleashed a jar of unhappiness in your life at the chapters that are in the chapters that were before this one. And yet it doesn't matter what happened in the past, where you come from, what's been done. Pandora is telling you that there's hope. There's a way forward for you. And that it's important that you're holding on to that hope as that little pinprick of light in the dark. And I just feel like hope is going to be your best guide this next week. So do not despair. Don't look at past evidence of past failures or worries for why you should just stay scared and stuck. It's time to trust your journey, and it's time to surrender to it. Next, we're going to go into the honeybee animal spirit, and this card says, let compassion and forgiveness be your top priority in this situation. And honeybee, it is an animal archetype of cooperation. Honeybees need to work with each other as a team to make the sweetest honey. And they're rather selfless. They're all in service to their queen. And so if you're attracted to honeybee, this could be a time when you're thinking more about the big picture and less about just yourself, your own desires, your own wants or needs. Also, this could be a time where you're getting busy at making the sweetest honey for you. First card for honeybee is where it's best to place your focus. And we get the King of Wands from the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot. The King of Wands is, for me, the survivor of the tarot. He survives all the trials by fire, all the challenges, and he overcomes them. He also modulates his temperature, his emotional temperature, his reaction to things. He doesn't let his feelings run too hot. And he also doesn't get too apathetic and get too cold. He's also got that lion by his throne on this card, which can indicate leadership, taking the lead. And the King of Wands can sometimes represent an aspect of you, which is that inner survivor, that part of you that's resilient, that can go the distance. But it can also represent a wise counselor, someone who's offering you help or support or advice. This is somebody that you want to open your ears to and listen to this next week. So pay attention to any advice that you're being given. Even if it wasn't asked for and you're like, oh God, I didn't even ask you for this advice. There might be something important coming your way that comes from the voice of another. The advice from your inner wisdom is actually the Judgment card. And the angel of judgment blows the trumpet and all the dead rise out of the grave again. The angel of judgment symbolizes rebirth and renewal. And like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, this is going to be a time for you where you reawaken. The honeybee could really be experiencing this time of personal transformation, but also just awakening. And you might need to see how you fit into the larger colony here. You might be waking up to your special part to play in this grand life that we're all experiencing together. And so I just feel for you with that honeybee, this is a time to wake up. It's a time to pay attention. It's also a time to allow your spirit to wake up. It might be a time to feed your spirit with whatever brings its sweetness at this time. And there's help, there's advice, there's support that's going to help you in your journey toward survival, toward making it the distance. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you if you pick the honeybee is Clotho. She's the youngest of the three fates, and she's the one who weaves the thread of life. And she says, I weave this thread of life to you, and you get to decide how you spend it. And you only get one lifetime in the form you're in right now. Your spirit's immortal, but this body you're in, it's got an expiration date. And Clotho could be telling you, why not make this lifetime the best possible life it could possibly be? Why settle for less? Why not weave the web that you want to live in your life and live that life strand to its fullest? It might require perseverance. It might require wisdom, but it definitely requires you to be awake, to allow your spirit not to be numbed anymore, but to be alert. So pay attention to what your spirit is coming to life to. And then finally, we have the mountain goat animal. And this card says there's something out of balance in your life, so do whatever you need to do to correct it. And the mountain goat is the master of balance. It climbs up to the peaks, and on wobbly little legs, it finds sturdiness by correcting its balance. This can be a time to identify what feels lopsided in your life and to really just give yourself the thing, nurture yourself with the thing that you feel is running on empty. First card for Mountain Goat is where it's best to place your focus, and appropriately, we have the nurturing figure of the Empress card. And the Empress, whenever I see the Empress, I just think of the mother goddess who's whispering in your ear and saying, it's all going to be okay. Everything's growing just as it's supposed to. And that you're just needing to nurture yourself and love your life and bless it. Everything's coming into fruition in its appropriate timing. And a lot of times we freak out about the hows of things or the whens. And yet the Empress smiles at you silently and says that that's a mystery that will unveil itself in time. But what you need to do is relax into the present moment. Enjoy where you're at. There is beauty to be found right now, right at this time. And you don't have to wait for some far-off thing to finally feel satisfied in your life. It's important that you're enjoying your life right now, because this is where it's happening. The Empress can also indicate that this is a time of nurturing. You might be nurturing others or might be called upon to do so. So allow compassion and love to really guide your words and your actions with others this next week. Next is advice from your inner wisdom. And we get the Ten of Cups, which for me is the card of resolution, happy endings. A lot of times the rainbow is associated with the Ten of Cups. On this card, it's a little bit more subtle. It's in the ribbons that are decorating the maypole here. But what I feel from the Ten of Cups is that there is a sense of hope after the storm. There's also love here in both of these cards. These are hugely strongly connected to love, family, compassion, nurturing. This is a time for you to connect if you pick the mountain goat. And maybe something's been running on or been kind of going through an imbalance for you. And where that balance is going to be found is in love. It's going to be in connecting with those people who counterbalance you. And so maybe don't isolate if you're feeling like you're on wobbly footing right now, but instead go toward those that are very nurturing to you. And finally, women. There's a lot of feminine energy with both of these cards. It might be the women in your lives that can offer that support, help, or care. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you appropriately is the Horai. They are the goddesses of the seasons. And just like the Empress, they're telling you that everything is going to come in its appropriate season. And in our lives, we all have different seasons we're experiencing. Sometimes it does feel like we're going through a winter or a really murky spring with just rain all the time. And yet that Empress reassures you that the sun will return, that everything is going to grow appropriately, and that there is going to be a time for sadness and sorrow, but then there's going to be times to put that to the side and enjoy what brings you joy again. And so I just feel with the Orai, there's a new season that's brewing, and you're walking toward it. And it just feels like you're on the right track. Even if you've been doubting yourself, you're absolutely on the right track. So just keep trusting that journey and just let the Empress's gift unfold. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always schedule a one-on-one tarot session with me at elliotoracle.com. I'd love to talk to you and get into all of your personal questions about the things that you're concerned about. Like I said, I also have some signed copies of my books available on my website, elliotoracle.com, if you like my empowering approach to tarot. And then finally, if you found this video useful, please do share it with a friend, like, subscribe, send a comment, put a little emoji in the box. That really helps the channel grow. I'm so grateful to all of you for how much you've helped this channel grow, especially in the last year. It's been amazing. I hope you all have a wonderful week, whatever you're doing, and I will see you again here next week for next week's Oracle Reveal. So do take care.